All right, so this interview, no special effects, no paintball clips. Just gonna tell you guys the story, and to know me is basically to know my paintball story. So it all started when I was about 12 years old, and it was right when I was coming into athletics. I wanted to be as fast as possible, jump as high as possible, and I've been playing soccer for 12 years. And along the way, I tried every extreme sport. I was skating, I was biking, I was doing anything I could to basically become a sponsored athlete. And then around that same age, I found paintball. And at that point, I became obsessed. I went to play once with my family, and my dad loved it too. So we just stuck with it, and we went every weekend from then on out until about 13. I started traveling for paintball. About a year later, I was going to Canada, all throughout the US, and I was playing national tournaments. And at that point, I was spending every moment I had outside of school at the local store. Dave Adams, he was the owner, and he coached me through everything. We'd watch paintball videos for hours on end. Hey, how'd this guy make a move? Or what gun is that? Just teaching me the sport inside and out. Then I started working at paintball fields along the way. And as I was working at paintball fields, I wasn't working for money. I was working for paint so that I could play that same day. And I would just shoot the paint that I worked for. And at this point, I had started playing paintball 4 times a week. Now, typically, paintball is a weekend sport, Saturday, Sunday. But I found a way. I started playing Wednesday nights against pro teams. I started playing on the weekends, twice on Saturdays, as much as I possibly could because I just couldn't get enough and I wanted to be better. I remember along the way, as I got more obsessed with it, my mom was a teacher in my local hometown, and she told me that the rule was I got honor roll in school every time or I couldn't play paintball. I remember I never thought much of it. I was always an okay student, but I got 1C in middle school, and my mom held me back from a tournament. I didn't get to go. And the tournament was in Vegas. The team I was playing for actually won the tournament in their division, and I just promised myself that I would never let that happen again. So I just dove into it. I never got another C my entire life. So thanks, Mom. So after having missed one tournament, according to my mom, and now entering into high school, I was completely obsessed. My local high school wanted me to run track, wanted me to play on the soccer team, and I couldn't because it's a Saturday, Sunday sport, and, I just couldn't give up my weekends. I wanted to play more paintball. So now working through high school, my junior year, I've been playing with the pros, I had been practicing against them, but I never really got the opportunities until I was 16. At 16 years old, I got my first pro tournament. I played for New York Extreme, which is a local squad, and I didn't get much play time. I only got to play 2 events with them, but I loved it. I couldn't get enough. Now coming into my senior year, I actually got an opportunity to play for a team on the West Coast, Sacramento Excessive. And they had just come off a huge year. I thought it was a really good pro team. It was a great opportunity. But it's also my senior year of high school. So now I've missed junior proms, I've missed senior proms, I didn't care. I just wanted to play paintball. But now this opportunity with the West Coast team, I had to sit down and talk to my dad because at this point I had taken the SATs. I had scored high enough that I could have gone to school for free in Massachusetts to any state school. But I didn't want to do it. I wanted to play paintball. So I made an agreement with my dad. It was all within a 1-week decision. And I said, I'm going to play for this team. He said, okay. Now from that point on, my entire senior year, on Friday afternoons, my dad would show up, dismiss me from school about 1 period early. I'd drive straight to Boston Airport. I'd fly to Sacramento, practice Saturday, Sunday, jump on a red-eye flight Sunday night, fly home to Boston. I'd land about 5:30, 6 a.m. My dad would pick me up, drop me off at school. I'd be about a period late every Monday morning. And it was becoming an issue for my high school. I loved it. I couldn't get enough. I think I was running off caffeine at this point, but who cared? I was playing for a pro team off the West Coast. It was great. I remember my principal used to call my parents trying to ask, like, hey, is Greg's dismissal note real? And I remember my parents just started hanging up on him. They just got sick of the phone calls because they knew what I was doing. But I can't thank my dad enough. He was there along the way the entire time. And he picked me up and dropped me off at a 45-minute drive to the airport, got out of work every day for me, and I can't thank him enough for it. It was great. But with that agreement of playing with the West Coast team, I said, I'm going to fly out. I'll move to Sacramento after high school. So on the day of my graduation, I moved out. I flew out. I stayed with the team owner, Rich Telford, and for 6 months I lived there. And within that 6 months, I luckily was accepted into Sacramento State. So I moved to Sacramento State. kept playing paintball all through college, and at that point, it's really a swing point for a lot of guys who play paintball because there's the real world and bills and college just swamps you. And I just kept telling myself, it's like, no matter what I do, I'm going to keep playing paintball. And I remember, so I went to college in 2007, and in 2008, I had switched teams. I was playing for a Southern California team, and I was playing 6 different tournament series. Now, there's 2 in the U.S. I was playing 1 in Europe, 1 in Australia, 1 in Mexico, and 1 in Canada. So I was basically never home. And I just remember going to professors right at the beginning of the semester and going, all right, here's the thing. I play a professional sport. And they'd all give me the same look when I told them paintball, just wide-eyed, couldn't figure out what was going on. They'd ask me if it was for school, and they'd be upset with me. But I worked with them. I remember bringing in jerseys, bringing in letterheads from different teams I had played for, from the company saying, hey, Greg is a sponsored athlete. We need him to be here. Well, lo and behold, I made it through college, Dean's Honor List every year, and I graduated with honors. And I couldn't get enough. I graduated with a nutrition major. And although I was still living off caffeine, I was still playing paintball, and I was happy as could be. Now, with playing paintball in 2008, I was playing for a championship team all before I graduated, and I was getting playtime. I was getting better at paintball. I was training with some of the best guys, the best names in the world, and playing all these series. I thought I was playing really well, but at the very end of the year, there's one tournament. It's the most important tournament of the year. It used to be held at Disney's Worldwide Adventure Sports down in Florida, and it's actually called the World Cup. Teams from all over the world show up, and it's all about winning this tournament. It's the biggest crowd. It's our Olympics. It's our X Games. It's paintball's central tournament that everybody wants to win. Well, at the end of 2008, I was on the team that won, but I hadn't played a single point the entire tournament, and a lot of people don't know that. I was on the winning team, but I didn't play. And it broke my heart. I couldn't celebrate. I couldn't look my family in the face. My whole family was there to watch, and it was a struggle. But it was one of those things where I told myself, this will never happen again. And I worked my ass off every day. I did everything I could to get better. And now from then, I ended up bouncing around a lot of teams. I quit teams. I actually got cut from the team at the end of 2008. And it was all for my own benefit, and I will say that. It was nothing against the teams I was with. Some of them dissolved, some of them weren't that good, some of them were great, but it was all about playing as much paintball as I could and being the best that I could. And unfortunately, along the way, I've lost some friends. I may have burned a bridge or two, and not that I've tried to, but it's all about the game. And this whole time, none of us were getting paid. None of us were making a living off paintball. It's just something we did, just something we loved to do. And that was for everyone at the time. When the market took a crash in 2007, money left the sport, but everyone stayed in it that could. So with those promises and changing teams, now I had to start making some money when I got out of college. I have student loans that I probably shouldn't have had if I had stayed in Massachusetts, but all these things to handle, I started being a personal trainer. So I started training 40 to 60 hours a week at California Family Fitness, a chain out in the Sacramento area. And I loved it. And my clients loved it. So every time I had to travel for paintball, I just tell them what it was all about, and they couldn't be happier. My clients were the best. They are the best, the ones that stuck around with me. So thank you. And it was exhausting, Still living off caffeine. It's probably been a couple years now, but doing what I can. And, I can't be thankful enough. I'm not personal training now, or what I am is very little. I'm doing everything I can to stay in the best shape that I can. I'm now ranked in the top 10 in the world. I get to travel all over the world, do amazing things, and it's still not enough. I need championships. I need to be number 1. I need to be in the best shape of my life, every day of my life. I just can't settle for good enough. There's more to it. There's more to have. There's more to gain. There's more to work for. And I will do it day in and day out. I will never be outworked. And that's why I want to do this. That's why I like Phorm. That's why I like this company. Everything you guys are about or everything you promote, it's great. And along the way, what money I have made, I've invested in life. I recently purchased a house, and I bought a house because I have a dog, and I wanted to keep my dog, so I couldn't have an apartment. And then I needed to travel for the airport and for personal training, so I bought a car. And then, things fell apart with personal training consistently with a corporation, so I opened my own company, and I started personal training there. And I just trying to take the next step in life every chance I get. So if I were to win, this 10,000, probably about 9,500 would go towards paying off school loans that I still think are a mystery, and the other 500 would go to buying a round of beers for everyone that's helped me along the way. My dad, Dave Adams, another guy, Bill Landry, the Hurricanes organization. There's a laundry list, so I might need a little more than that to buy a round, but I can't thank them enough. And with all that, I just hope that I can be the bridge between fitness and paintball. It's an incredible sport. It's an extreme sport. It deserves more than it gets. And I really think bridging the idea of being a true athlete with an extreme sport like paintball can take everyone to the next level. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy.